Hey guys, today we're going to solve a question, two questions actually, both of them valid palindrome 1 and valid palindrome 2. So let's start with one and then go from there. So given a string, determine if it's a palindrome, considering only alphanumeric characters and ignoring cases, so like uppercase or lowercase. For the purpose of this problem, we define empty string as a valid palindrome. So here, for knowledge, right, a palindrome is a sentence or a word, a string that basically they can be read the same way forwards and backwards. So like race a car, like these R's are the same, these A's are the same, these C's are the same. And then these E's are not the same, and therefore it's false. So that's what we have to solve. The first thing before we even start comparing, the zeroth index with the last index and working our way towards the middle to see if they equal to each other, we have to kind of get rid of the characters in the string that we don't actually want. And so I actually Googled how to do that for Python and how to extract only non-alphanumeric characters from a string. It's with this, right? r/w plus. So we're going to import free, which is the regex package for Python. We'll say, okay, our string, we want to substitute all of the non-alphanumeric characters with the empty string, right? So let's say s equals read.sub, our non-alpha numeric equals r/w, I think, right? And we want to sub all the non-alphanumeric characters, the empty string of our s, right? And put that back into s. Then it's a simple, two-pointer method, right? We have I equals 0 and j equals the length of the string. We'll work our way inwards. If they're ever not equal, return false. Otherwise, they're true. So I equals 0, j equals length of the string minus 1, while I is less than j, right? While we still haven't met each other. If s of I does not equal s of j, there's a problem, and they're not going to be palindromes, so we say return false. Otherwise, we increment our I, we decrement our j, and at the end of it, if it hasn't returned false, it must be true, right? So return true. So let's run this code and see how it looks. Whoops. I forgot to lowercase it. And I was probably comparing this A with this A and saying they're not equal, and therefore we failed everything. Boom. Okay, so that's valid palindrome. Make sure it actually works. Great. Okay, so is valid palindrome step 1. So let's move on to is valid palindrome step 2, the follow-up question, and let's go. So a valid palindrome 2. So given a non-empty string s, you may delete at most one character. Judge whether you can make this string s a palindrome. So in this case, we don't have to delete any characters because it's by default a palindrome, so we return true. In this case, we have one character that we can delete. That would make this input a palindrome. So we can delete this C character, and then we have kind of the same string as before, and go from there. So let's actually look at a different example just to kind of visualize how we want to solve this. We have A, B, C, then like B, D, A, right? So here we want to kind of take the same approach, right? Work our way inwards and try to find to see if it's a palindrome. But we have one extra step where we can actually remove one character. So in this case, A and A are equal, right? So we can kind of get rid of these two A's and not consider them anymore, right? Now we have B and D are not equal, but we're not exactly sure which character of these we should delete, right? So my approach to solving this is basically delete, like follow the path as if you deleted one, and then also follow the path if you deleted the other. And then take each of those paths will return a true or false, and then take the union of both of those, right? So if one of them is true, then we can delete one character and get a true palindrome. If both of them are false, we can't delete. Doesn't matter if we delete whichever one, we're not going to get a valid palindrome. So that's the way I kind of will go about doing this. So we're going to do a recursive solution to this. I'm actually going to pass in an additional param here with a default value to false, basically saying have we removed a character before, right? And if we have, then we know we can't remove a character again, right? So we'll do if not string, right? We're going to return true. Here we're going to say I equals 0, j equals the length of our string minus 1, which is exactly what we did last time. Now we're going to say, okay, if s of I equals s of j, right? We're so far so good. We want to return self dot valid palindrome of s I plus 1, right? And j. And this remains to be false. Here we're saying, okay, we have a string. Now recurse on the same string but minus the end characters, right? Now if they're not equal, but we have already removed one, right? Meaning removed is equal to true, right? We want to just return false, right? We've already removed one and now we have to remove another one. And so that's not allowed in this question. Okay, and the last case is they're not equal, but we have not removed anything yet, right? So here we'll say, okay, we want to return, we want to go down each path, right? So return self.valid palindrome, oops, of s of I plus 1 and j plus 1 and true, right? So I plus 1 is going to say, okay, take off, remove the left side, the ith character, and recurse, right? We keep the jth side. Or self.valid palindrome of s, keep the left side, right? And remove the right side, right? And also true. And then if all of this goes through, you can just return true. And let's run this code. Cool, let's run it on our example that we gave in the beginning, which was A, B, C, and B, D, A, right? So this is going to be like you have to choose the right side to kind of remove. We're testing that. Oh, string indices must be integers. Here, this has to be a slice. Great, okay, so that's on the right side. We tested that this right side of this else case is working. I'm just gonna swap it around BD. Cool, let's see if it works here. We have to take the left side. Great, and then lastly, empty string. Awesome. So let's submit this. Okay, so now you've done valid palindrome 1 and valid palindrome 2. Thank you, I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe.